Okay, this one's got muted colours. Let's see if we can make it look something good. I've got the fan going in the lounge room. I can't put it on here because it's going to blow the papers around and make too much noise. So got sweat dripping down my back. So much hate it when I get that. Colours are really muted colours, not my cup of tea, but they don't look too bad. They look like they do have potential as a demo. Let's see if we can make it look any good. Okay, what have we got? We got here, it says here, Australian Haydn Ensemble. In other words, Haydn is an orchestral music composer. My dad taught me this shit when I was a kid. I was brought up with orchestral music as a child, even though I rarely listen to it now, except in the form of electronic renditions of music done for the orchestra or orchestras. So I've got Switched on Bach, but my dad had a copy of Switched on Bach, which I found when it's at the age of 9 I found, and it was the best music I'd ever heard. It was the first synthesizer music I'd ever heard of that type, apart from pop music. That looks shit house. I found that the how should I put it? The pop music synthesizer was really good, but it was really nice hearing a bit of orchestral music transposed into the synthesizer rather than just ordinary, just in pop music, like the Human League was popular at the time. Really, they had the song out called Don't You Want Me, which was a huge hit for that band, and they're one of my favourite bands of all time. But Switched on Bach was really amazing to hear. Now that looks really interesting, except I've cut her head off. I'm wondering if we're going to use it like that. Haydn. It looks like the word Hayden, H-A-Y. Actually, no, it's H-A-Y. It hasn't got an E between the D and the N, so it's a bit different. So yeah, that was wrong. I got it wrong just then. Haydn, and it's pronounced Haydn. I'm not sure where the origins of it is, whether it's German or whatever. Haydn. It sounds like it's a funny name. It sounds like hiding or hidden or hide, whatever. It's an interesting name. It sounds like it's probably German. Don't know. I could always Google it if I wanted to, if I could remember. Because that's what I love about Google is it's always there, ready to go. You ask it a question, and usually you get an answer or answers, which I really like. He didn't have that stuff back when I was young. Even in the 90s, the internet was only new, very new. Not everyone could afford it. Anyway, his colours look quite nice. It looks a bit green. I think we can keep it like that. But Haydn, yeah. My dad brought me up with Haydn. I don't remember off the top of my head any of the tunes that Haydn wrote. I never learned all the names. Often orchestral music has technical sounding names, like they talk about notation and all that sort of stuff in their work, and it's really hard to digest it. Like one of the songs that I can remember from listening to Switched on Bach, I forgot the name. Yeah, it's Bach, of course. Switched on Bach, so it's all Bach. There's a piece of music. This sounds a bit silly in modern terms or a bit rude, but but basically there's a piece of music called Air on a G String. So it talks about notation and that, but basically that's a pretty short one to remember. And normally G strings are now associated with underpants, lingerie. It's not, back in those days they wouldn't have had, lingerie called G strings. So I don't think Bach would have called it that if such things existed back then. Air on a G string. Like someone farting into a G string. Air on a G string. Sorry, I had to make that joke, folks. I've been in a bad mood since yesterday making my demos, and I finally got something to fucking laugh at. And in the middle of that, I forgot to. Oh no, I haven't. I've got it. I thought I forgot to press the mirror image button, but basically, I've managed to laugh instead of get angry, instead of getting pissed off with the heat and pissed off with capitalism and other things that I talk about, folks. This Air on a G string just gave me a little bit of comic relief, folks. I don't normally laugh that much these days, but Air on a G string does sound kind of funny in the modern term. Air on a G string. On a G string. Anyway, that looks interesting, almost geometric. I think now we can call this Haydn demo quits. And so the photocopier says so also.